Good evening. Okay, welcome to Pitch Dingman Competition 2022. Can I get a round of applause for Pitch Dingman 2022? Okay. Y'all, we gotta do better than that. Now, we are in a safe space here, okay? So we don't need just clapping. We want to hear woos, ahs, yeses. Let's try that again. Are you ready for Pitch Dingman 2022? There we go. Yes. That energy we are going to keep throughout the entire evening as we kick things off. So I am by no means the star of the show tonight, but I want to let you know who is up here on this stage and why. So my name is Chris Lane. I am a graduate of 2015 from the University of Maryland, Robert H. Smith School of Business. Come on, Smith School, let's hear it for the Smith School. Woo woo. So I am also a student of the Dingman Center for Entrepreneurship, the people who are helping put on this event tonight. Now, can everybody see this this light bulb up here? Everybody see this light bulb? This is where all big ideas begin. When you think of the Googles of the world, the Facebooks, the Apples, they started with that light bulb right there. And that's exactly what the Dingman Center for Entrepreneurship inspired in me. So I live in Atlanta now. I'm the executive director and co-founder of Multiband Studios, a growing company down there that is hitting huge strides and huge success. And that started here, the drive, the patience, the grit, the effort, the fearlessness. That's what we're gonna see here on stage tonight. So, our 6 finalists are here competing for over $80,000 in startup funding. That's not 1,000, that's not 2, that's not 3, that's $80,000, y'all. That's a lot of money. And we have 3 different tracks here tonight, which we'll get into later, but there's the Main Street track, there's the Quattrone Ventures track, and there's also the Fearless Ideas track. But first, we need to thank all of the sponsors for our competition. Thank you to David and Robin Quattrone, Chris and Vidya Ballinger, and also the Parson Ventures Incorporated and Amazon Web Services. Let's give a round of applause to our sponsors. There we go. Yes, I love the energy. So, as you all know, entrepreneurship is not just a matter of getting up here on stage. It is a matter of hustle, grit, patience, dedication, taking those moments to breathe before we come up on stage. It's all of that wrapped into one. So what you're seeing here tonight is students who have worked on their businesses. They have spent months, if not years, perfecting their pitches for this moment. They have worked one-on-one with coaches, with people who have helped give them support. And we first need to give a special thank you to all of the coaches who have helped get them here thus far. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you to our coaches. Now, these are the best of the absolute best. The 6 finalists here tonight have made it here from an entry pool of 60, okay? And you are witnessing 6. So they are the best of the best. And when they get up here on stage, I need you to root and cheer for them as if you are rooting and cheering for your own dreams, okay? This takes a lot of hard work. Now, let me give you the lay of the land. There were first 21 quarter finalists and 12 semi-finalists earlier this semester. So let's thank those judges who helped judge our quarter finalists round. Let's give them a round of applause. And you can see it takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of people to do this. And also, over 2 weeks ago, The 6 finalists here today were chosen by another experienced group of alumni judges. There were 8 semifinalist judges. Let's give them a round of applause. Now, I need y'all to do me a favor. When I say UM, y'all say D. UM. Oh, come on. Y'all could do better than that. When I say UM, you say D. UM. 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 UMD is a beautiful place, right? This is where we build our ecosystem. The ecosystem of support, the ecosystem of love, of care, of making sure that people can enact their dreams. That same ecosystem, that same village is what we find here at the Dingman Center for Entrepreneurship. It takes a whole lot of people, so I want to give a special shout out to our Dingman Center staff. Let's give them a round of applause. We want to let you know that we see you and we appreciate your work. So, without further ado, I know I'm the only thing in between you and some fierce competition. So I'm going to keep this thing rolling. I'd like to now introduce the expert panel of judges sitting in front of me tonight. Now, they are going to help us decide who the winners are up here on this stage. First, we're going to start with the Main Street and Quattrone Venture tracks. So let's introduce our finalist judges. We have David Quattrone, Chris Ballinger, Tom Parsons, Ngozi Azubike, Sarah Frimpong, and Akash Magoon. Let's give our judges a round of applause tonight. Thank you. Thank you. So without further ado, we are going to kick things off with our Main Street track. Let me tell you a little bit about this, okay? Our Main Street track is for non-tech-based businesses. And yes, I know we live in a different generation now. There are businesses that are non-tech. So these have also proven revenue. So these students competing here tonight are competing for a first place prize of $20,000. A second place prize of $7,500, still a lot of money. And then we have our third place prize of $1,000. And also, there's a $1,000 Audience Choice Award that we'll also give out for both tracks, the Main Street and the Quattrone Ventures track. Each team will deliver a 6-minute pitch, followed by 4 minutes of questions from our panel of judges. And let's go over what these judges are looking for, right? We're all familiar with a rubric. We know we need that in school just to know exactly how we need to perform. So our judges are judging on whether their venture tackles a problem. What's the need? What's the solution? Also, what is their target market? Who's their audience? Are they going to be viable and be able to go against their competitors? What's their competitive analysis? Does their business make money? And how they will then use their grand prize funds. Our founders have a lot to accomplish in what? Just 6 minutes. So all of that in 6 minutes. So, without further ado, our 3 finalists for the Main Street track are North Star Creations, founded by Matthew Parsons; Omega 3 LLC, founded by Edwin Bright Jampa; and MatMate, founded by James Dawson. Let's give our Main Street finalists a round of applause. And now we are going to take a look at what this is.
And I'm Elaine Parsons.
And we're trying to help solve one of the biggest issues facing our country. According to the National Alliance of Mental Illness, 1 in 6 teens has a mental illness, and suicide is the second leading cause of death between teens and young adults.
We plan to solve this problem by addressing it with toddlers and young children before these major challenges arise. Our solution is to create products for parents to teach our children how to recognize and understand emotions. It started with creating 10 characters that every child could relate to help teach your toddler how to recognize and deal with their strong emotions. We have created a truly inclusive set of educational materials.
Let's welcome North Star Creations to the stage.
I came to the University of Maryland. I came as a biology major, but eventually I realized my passion lies in nutrition. Omega-3 is a food company that makes granola bar items and other food items to help promote mental health and well-being. Key to our granola bars are omega-3 fatty acids. These fatty acids help maintain DHA levels within the brain. This company has frankly opened doors to conversations that I've had with people that I never would have had if it wasn't for me being so open about how much this can improve your mental health. And when you have that, it helps tremendously.
Let's hear for Omega-3 LLC.
Hi, my name is James Dawson. I'm here to introduce my product, the MatMate. It's a patent-pending protective device that is designed to stop the driver's heel from wearing through their car's floor mat. I've been a professional detailer for almost 5 years now, and I've had the privilege to work on hundreds of cars. In my years of detailing, I had seen hundreds of these heel wear spots. This is what led to the idea of the MatMate. If the driver leaves it unprotected, it will turn into a hole in a short period of time. My goal is to give my customers and car enthusiasts a low-cost, effective, and attractive solution to this really common but annoying issue. Knowing that I've created something that is helping people get more enjoyment out of their car, increase its value, and keep it on the road for even longer is something that I'm incredibly proud of, and it's something that motivates me to keep moving forward with this product.
Let me hear your excitement for MatMate. Now, let's get this started. North Star Creations, welcome to the stage.
How are you feeling? Seriously, how are you feeling? That's the exact responses I would get from my students for 7 years when I was a teacher. They would say, Mr. Parsons, I'm fine. Mr. Parsons, I'm good, or I'm okay. And yes, some students were okay, but a lot were struggling. 1 out of 6 kids in the US has a mental illness. It's much worse post-COVID. 1 out of 4 students suffer from anxiety, and 1 out of 3 students, elementary students, require regular counseling, and that number alone is very alarming. It's having an impact on their overall health. Everything from the way kids sleep at night to how they behave at home is tied back into their mental health. But there is hope. The research is very clear that if we teach young children emotion skills, we can expect to see a 20% increase in their overall health, their behavior, and their academic performance from elementary school to high school, and that is exactly what we wanted for our 2 kids. If I wasn't making the impact that I wanted at the high school level because it was too late to teach emotion skills, what if we started with young children? My wife Elaine and I, have been on a mission for the last year to help with this problem since we won the Fearless Idea competition here last year. Without that funding, we would have never been able to build this company. This is a $500 million market for kids' educational toys, based on the key metric of 41.9 million kids under 9 that need products to learn about mental health in a fun way. Our team knows that there's a path to $5 million in sales as we scale and grow this company. There are other companies out there teaching social emotional learning, but these companies are using non-human characters to teach a broad range of social issues. Our team of subject matter experts, 2 University of Maryland PhD students, and a leading Maryland play therapist have a solution. We've built a universe of relatable characters, as you can see in the top picture. We have 10 characters that every kid in this country can relate to. We then created educational content based off of those characters, like our first book, How Does It Feel? It uses all of the characters equally. And then we've created tangible products like a doll of each character that kids can hold, that they can learn from, that can be a part of their life. The second part of our solution is to make sure that everything that we create is based on leading external and internal research from our team, built on the foundation of getting kids to recognize and label emotions, learn to understand and manage those emotions, and ultimately to have empathy for how others are feeling. We're currently selling direct to consumers. We have our first book, How Does It Feel? A doll of each character, flashcards, puzzles, but by far our best-selling product is the bundle of the book and doll together. We've only been selling for 5 months, but in that time we just passed 9,200 in sales, and our team projects that we're going to hit 75,000 in sales this year. We also know that with the right team, we can grow this company and double sales each year until the point where we hit 1 million a year in sales within 5 years, and then ultimately get to the 5 million a year in sales. We're currently selling to the 3 segments that have the biggest impact on children: parents, teachers, and therapists, and we've received very positive feedback from all 3 segments. We focus a lot of energy and thought on how to acquire those customers. We reach our customers in all 3 segments through targeted digital ads, influencer outreach, in-person conferences, which leads to great word of mouth and organic growth. We also keep and nurture our customers with our monthly newsletter on children's emotional intelligence, which has a 70% open rate, which is 4 times the industry average. And lastly, people purchase our products through our website, our Etsy page, and soon we're releasing on Amazon. We've received very positive feedback since we've been selling. We have a 98% customer satisfaction score, and 75% of people would recommend us to a friend. But we need your help to grow and sustain this company. If we were to win the Dingman Center competition this year, 50% is going to go to meeting demand to produce 5,000 books and dolls that are professionally manufactured that will take our margins from 15% to 60% and allow us the ability to scale this company. 25% is going to go to our next product line of toys called Facing Feelings. It's a book and toy to teach kids about facial expressions and emotions now that we have the masks off and we have to learn the skill over. And 25% is the most important thing that would go to marketing, digital ads, and in-person events that we expect to get a 3x return on to reinvest and grow this company. You probably know that Jim Henson was a Maryland alum, but did you know that he met his wife Jane in a puppeteering class in 1955 where they created the first Kermit puppet? They went on to grow that company into the largest educational company in the world, Sesame Street. Every week, I walk by a statue which is right outside this building, and I'm inspired by the potential impact that our company, North Star Creations, could have on children. I know it's very hard for us to talk about emotions and feelings, but please join me in helping the next generation of kids. Thank you. I'd love to answer any questions.
Check, check. And now we'll do 4 minutes of questions from our judges.
Matt, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry. Matt, great last name, by the way. Question, what competition is currently out there for this product?
Yeah, so there are some social emotional intelligence companies, as I was showing, but these companies focus a lot on non-human characters. There's a couple companies that are ingrained in schools, so we do have some competitors.
And how many unique customers do you expect to get to realize your growth projection?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have about 500 customers right now, so we really hope to quadruple that. We're going to give you an answer to that, we're going to 3 very large professional conferences. So we're going to go to a teaching national conference, a daycare national conference, and a play therapy national conference, and then Toy Fair, which is the biggest educational toy fair in the country. But we're really hoping to make large scale orders there. So I don't have a specific number, but we do hope to get some large customer school districts. We can really ramp things up. And one other thing to that, we just had a school district in Western Maryland order $1,200 to put into 3 elementary classes. Yeah, thank you.
To follow up on that, when you talk about growth, I saw you have the 3 channels that you can really sell the product through. You just mentioned schools. Can you talk a little bit more about how you see growth being able to kind of unfold and scale for the revenue goals that you're trying to hit?
Yeah, so I'm gonna flip back to that if I can get there. Yeah, so when we set out to build this company, we really wanted to focus on parents Because parents have the biggest effect in kids' lives. And when we did a Kickstarter last year, we had about 75% parents order. But then school districts started ordering. We had the $1,200 order. Therapists have ordered because they don't have any products like this in their therapy practices. So right now we're still kind of figuring it out. We are really hoping to roll out a curriculum, and we won the Do Good competition last week, or sorry, second place in the Do Good competition. But that gave us funding to roll out a national curriculum to test and get approved next year.
Thank you.
Matt, first of all, very good job. Tell me about the test marketing. Did you guys test market this to determine who level of interest, the market demand for it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we surveyed 150 people first, and then did this customer discovery from that. We got very positive feedback from our customer discovery. So then about 4 months later, we launched a Kickstarter, and that kind of gave us an idea of who was purchasing our products. And then we started to kind of figure out our segments from there and where we were going to put time and energy.
How do you measure the impact that your products have on kids' mental health?
Yeah, that's a great question too. So with the Do Good grant, so we're going to test this. We have the 2 PhD students from Maryland. We're going to work together over the summer. We really hope to test this and see how it works with a curriculum, research testing, and then kind of go from there and make edits to grow and expand from there. But we really want to see this summer the test results.
And then any plans for retail direct-to-consumer sales, like in brick and mortar?
No, not really. It's all going to be online through the 3 channels that we were talking about. We did have a bookstore and a toy store reach out to put the products in there, but we do want to focus more on online and business-to-business sales.
When talk about the impact measuring, are you going across those 3 segments, kind of instructor-led with teachers and therapists versus parents themselves, and see if there's a difference there?
Yeah, this summer we're focusing in schools. So we really want to focus with teachers, how the curriculum works. Is it getting kids to identify emotions, and is that having an impact on their behavior, their health? So teachers are our main priority over the summer.
And we've got time for one more question.
Matt, can you just go right back to your revenue real quick on the slide there? So you projected 500 sales so far this year, you said?
Yeah, we've done 500 sales this year.
When you take that to the next scale here, how do you plan to get there in 2023 up to that next level?
Yeah, so to be honest, in the 5 months, one thing that was really holding us back was that all of our products are locally and handmade, and we were just selling out, reordering. We just couldn't keep up with it. So now that we have professional manufacturing coming in, and we're going to have that bulk order of 5,000 units, we're not going to have to slow down our marketing. We've done no marketing because we just keep running out of inventory. So once we have those dolls here this summer in the professionally manufactured books, we'll have the inventory to really start pushing this out with a lot of marketing.
Okay, great, good job.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Matt. All right, we're gonna keep this thing rolling. Let's bring up Omega 3 LLC.
Have you ever wanted to say something and it was on the tip of your tongue, but you just couldn't get it out of your mouth? Annoying, right? What if I told you that 30% of Americans will experience diminishing brain function beginning at the age of just 25? Hi, we're Omega 3, and we're the first of its kind food company that proactively works to take care of your brain. Through our line of food products and our premier product, the Omega 3 Granola Bar, we naturally work to fortify and sustain your brain health. We've developed a product that delivers the key and optimum nutrient that is Omega 3 in a readily accessible and consumable way. Omega 3 fatty acids have been found to maintain good levels of DHA in the brain, which have been proven to sustain brain health. Currently, our distribution apparatus is diverse and broad. The unifying factor in all of them is that these are informed and conscientious communities when it comes to brain health. We've chosen to enter the market space through key partnerships with schools, which have allowed us to grow and bolster our presence in grocery stores and beyond. Since establishing that distribution apparatus in 2020, we've seen significant growth by every single metric. Over 10,000 people in customer reach, over 40 stores that we are in, and over $95,000 in total sales. When we envisioned a brain-centric food company, we wanted our first product to be something that was affordable, accessible, and avidly consumable. We've learned from our customers and have identified the biggest pain points and opportunities when it comes to access and availability for brain health nutrients. And it's with this deep knowledge of our customer needs and feedback from our early adopters that we created our first product, the Omega-3 granola bar. But remember, we are not a granola bar company. This is just the first product in a line of many to come. And the market justifies it. Our market is growing, and it is growing rapidly as more Americans become conscientious about their brain health. And we want to grow with it. When people think of brain health, we want them to think of Omega-3. And that's not just some cool tagline that we say, but it is truly something that we mean, and our projections back it up. Because we've been in existence since 2019, we have data, and that data was utilized with an independent financial firm to create our projections for this year. And furthermore, we are on pace to hit our projected numbers of 2022 comfortably, because we have verbal and contractual agreements that will allow us to see those numbers and reach those numbers within the next 8 months. But that's not all. In order to truly be successful in the food space, we had to adopt a Trojan horse mentality. That means that entering into a very populous space with little to no competition. For example, we have key partnerships set up with 2 school districts in Maryland where we are the sole provider of granola bars to their athletic departments. Furthermore, we have partnerships set up with our mental health organizations, NAMI and AFSP, where we are the sole provider of granola bars to their events. This has enabled our product to serve a large population while growing in notoriety and facing little to no competition. Our team is strong, and our team is diverse. We wear a multitude of hats to tackle a multitude of issues. Notably, Dr. Rahman is a professor here at the University of Maryland in food science, and he advised us in the creation of our product. If awarded the $20,000, we will begin to produce results instantaneously. We will put money towards upgrading our infrastructure so that we can increase our capacity to make bars by 600 bars per day. We will put money towards a sales rep so that we can increase our market presence by 60 to 70% by the end of this year. And we will put money to our R&D department so that we can bring you more food products that work to sustain your brain health. My name is Bright Jampa, and when I started Omega-3, it was simple. I wanted a stronger brain for a better life. Thank you.
And let's hear from our judges.
Great presentation, awesome start. It is a really crowded space. Can you talk to me a little about your marketing plans and how you're going to break through that? I mean, obviously you've got partners that you're pushing through, and if you're the only granola bar there, it's easy to beat the competition, but how you can get the brand awareness out there with your marketing materials?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So far we've partnered with organizations and NAMI and AFSP, which have allowed us to enable us to reach a large consumer base. However, we've also realized that people carry that over into the grocery stores, and they're able to purchase our products more readily at a Whole Foods in a Maryland location or at a Whole Foods in a Virginia or Pennsylvania location. NAMI and AFSP has national campuses, and we are hoping that once we receive the proper funding, we are also able to facilitate those walks, which will transfer into more presence, more brand awareness, so that when people walk into the grocery stores, they already know our brand by being a part of these organizations. Furthermore, with our high schools, that is also how we tackle it. Students know the product, they've eaten it on their way to games, they've eaten it from games coming back, they tell mom and dad about it, and that's helped our sales in grocery stores and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit more about how you currently manufacture the product and how you see that changing as you hit your growth goals?
Yeah, absolutely. And great question from a food brand. But when we grow our product, we are very conscious of not relying completely on a co-packer, because you can only grow as fast as your co-packer allows you to. So that's why we want to bolster our self-manufacturing capabilities so that we can reach that threshold of 5,000, 7,000 bars per day to meet the demand that we are expecting by the end of this year. But it's no hidden secret that we have to partner with co-packers, at least initially, to meet some of that demand and down the line, but we don't want to be wholly reliant on them going forward. So we produce out of Hagerstown, Maryland. We produce about 2,200 bars per day on a 4-day week, and then we're trying to ramp that up. But great question.
Awesome, great job.
Thank you.
Talk to me about quality. Anytime you're serving food product, people are concerned about health. How do you guys manage that aspect of your business?
Yeah, so quality is front and center. At each of our manufacturing facilities, we actually have a quality inspector there and a safety inspector there while the food is being produced. Like I said, our team wears multiple hats, so some of these people are already certified in that and help out when producing the bars and the products and work to ensure the quality and safety of the food product itself. It's something that's very conscious, and we are constantly working to try and make it better and keep it safe as possible, but we are aware of that problem in the food industry. So thank you.
Thank you.
Question on the financials.
Yes.
How much is the price per consumable? What's your gross profit percentage? Will you get an increase in gross profit as you ramp up production?
Yeah, so as we are able to produce our bars more and more self-house made and whatnot, we are able to maximize those profit margins of about 70 to 90%. But also it depends what market we sell in, right? In our gyms and in our high schools and whatnot, we are able to hit that 70, that 75% easily. But when it comes to a Whole Food, a Mom's, or even like a Kroger, they were gonna take 35% on distribution, 35% on this, 5% on broker fees. So we're aware of that, but we're also trying to mitigate that problem by increasing our self-manufacturing capabilities and also trying to bolster our direct-to-consumer apparatus more and more. So, but we are aware of that. Thank you.
Do you mind going to the next slide?
Yes.
Or sorry, the slide with the D2C, B2B. Could you break down the revenue, the 95K in revenue across the 3 channels that you have?
Yeah.
And this will be our last question, but thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So a large part of that 95K in revenue has come through our unique and exclusive partnerships with high schools, as well as with universities where we were able to sell. We sell here on UMD campus. We're in all the retail stores, all the grocery stores. We're also at Georgetown University, and we're at Howard University. So that has been a large contributor to that 95,000. But that first number, you see the 375K, the 600K, that's going to be bolstered once we are able to fulfill our verbal and contractual agreements that we have with Montgomery County High Schools and also Washington County High Schools. We'll be able to meet those numbers easily within the next 8 months because we already have those contracts in place. We're just waiting for funding to boost our manufacturing capability. But
Thank you.
Let's hear it for Omega 3 LLC. And our final competitor for our Main Street track is Matt Mate. Welcome them to the stage.
My name is James Dawson, and I'm here to pitch MatMate, which is the solution to floor mat heel wear. Floor mat heel wear is an incredibly common issue that affects millions of cars across the country. I've been a professional detailer for almost 5 years. It's an issue that I've seen hundreds, if not thousands of times, day in and day out. It's what inspired me to create this product. It's caused by the pivoting of the driver's right foot from the gas to the brake hundreds of times every time that they drive their car. This friction creates a bare spot in the carpet fibers that eventually turns into a hole after extended use. Sourcing replacement mats is very difficult. It'll cost you $125 or so to replace an original floor mat from a dealership, and sometimes a lot more than that because some dealerships don't just sell you the driver's side mat, and you end up spending $400 buying the full set of floor mats when you only need to replace one spot on one floor mat. I was shocked seeing this issue so frequently as a detailer to find that there was no good product that fixed this issue until now. So MatMate is an OEM Plus protective pad designed to protect any floor mat from heel wear. It's an OEM Plus design because it beautifully complements any original floor mat. It comes in 3 colors, which helps it blend in really well: dark, gray, black, and sand. It attaches really easily with included 3M adhesive, and it is completely unnoticeable while driving. If you were to put on a blindfold and go driving around town, you would not even notice that it was there. But of course, I don't recommend driving blindfolded. It's completely easy to install, and I worked for months with a very reputable patent lawyer to secure a utility patent on this product. The automotive aftermarket industry is huge. It's a $325 billion industry with $171 billion strictly cosmetic automotive products. I don't have any data on how big the floor mat heel pad industry is because it's pretty much just me, but I can say that steering wheel covers is a similar product designed to stop another area of the car frequently damaged from wearing out. And almost $20 billion of these things have been sold. So this proves to me that consumers are willing to spend money on products that protect and prolong the life of their car interiors. If they're willing to spend money on the steering wheels, they'll be willing to spend money protecting their floor mats. MatMate is in a class of its own compared to its competitors. The closest competitor is the Autohawks protective pad, but it's not really that close of a competitor at all. It's over twice as expensive. It's 4 times bigger than a MatMate for no apparent reason. It's made out of plastic, comes in 1 color, and it has to be screwed into the floor mat for it to work. So in order to prevent one hole from forming, you have to intentionally screw in 6 other holes. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Generic rubber mats and WeatherTech mats cost 3 to 15 times as much as a MatMate does, and you make a lot of sacrifices with those products. The best floor mat you'll ever find for your car is the one that came in your car. The fitment is perfect, the carpeting is a lot nicer than rubber, and the coloring is perfect. Why throw all of those things away when it's just one spot that wears out? A MatMate allows you to continue using your driver's floor mats that came in the car and keep them in great shape. I sell MatMates directly to consumers via Amazon. I've sold over 1,300 units to date. They're priced at $11.99 currently. They're already profitable, and I'm selling about 10 to 12 a day on average. I've also got more sales channels coming soon, such as RID.com, Walmart.com, and the potential for a brick-and-mortar retail such as Advanced Auto Parts and AutoZone. I also sell MatMates directly to businesses. Used car dealerships are always looking for ways to increase the value of their used inventory. I know because I've been hired many times by dealerships to prep cars for sale. They'll do things like polishing yellow headlights or shining tires or detailing cars, because when a car seems newer, customers are willing to spend more money. And that's the pitch I give to dealership owners. I tell them that, a customer is going to notice a heel hole. It's one of the first things in their life when they open the door. So if you have old cars and used cars in their inventory, sometimes not even that old, covering heel damage with a MatMate is a great way to increase the dealership's value of their inventory. It's a very straightforward pitch, and the proof of that is in the fact that 1 out of 5 dealerships end up placing orders with an average order size of 30 MatMates. Which, using that data, I can make some financial projections. If I talk to 15 dealerships a day for 5 days a week for 3 months at the same numbers I just gave you, my first year revenue comes out to $415,000. If I spend another three months the following year talking to dealerships 15 a day, 5 days a week, that revenue grows to $755,000. I've had significant progress since I came up with this idea in December of 2020. I got a patent, which was huge. I designed and produced 2 separate versions of the MatMate. The current one is a much improved version and is in stock now. But whenever I've had a slowdown, it's been directly because of lack of funding. I'm entirely self-funded, so whenever I have to pay for an injection mold or a patent fee or something like that, I have to detail like crazy in order to fund everything. Which does bring me to my last slide, what I would do with $20,000 if I had it. Well, I'd spend 43% on larger injection molds for product inventory. This will allow me to keep up with future demands and as well as be more profitable. And this will give me $71,000 in future revenue. I'll draft additional IP protections as well as product use disclaimers. I'll set up a business-to-business portal to help my business customers place orders really easily and keep their retention high, as well as start to automate the production of attaching the adhesive to the base. There's never been a product like MatMate, and my initial traction is really promising and makes me excited about the future of this product, as well as my utility patent pending will protect me from any copycats in the near future. Thank you for listening to my pitch. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Lower the shutter speed a bit.
Can you tell me how many, first of all, great job on this, this is fantastic. How many mats have you sold now?
1,300. It's 1,210-ish to consumers and 90 to the dealerships.
James, a quick question for you.
Yes.
You've told us how much you're selling and what is your margin?
So my margin is currently, I'm currently making $7. I'm currently making $5 per unit, but I can get those numbers to $7 using the same manufacturers with economies of scale.
There we go.
But that's included the Amazon FBA fee, which does drive down my profits.
I'll let you know when the
And how many production sources do you have? That seems pretty high cost. Do you have several production sources?
Currently just one, but they are made in the United States, which does, the adhesive is converted in the U.S. and so is the rubber base is also made in the United States.
Thank you. Good job.
What exactly does the patent that you filed protect you against?
So it's a utility patent which covers, it's a rubber or plastic-like pad with tape-like adhesive on the back and grooves for grip, grooves or ridges for grip. So it's very, very vague. Someone couldn't make a circle mapping, for example, and so it's very, very broad. That was the most exciting thing about this whole process when I found out that could be patented.
You have AutoZone up there. Can you talk more about, is that a partnership that's coming up, or?
Yeah, so this summer, so I have applications pending on CarID and Walmart.com. AutoZone and Advanced Auto Parts and those brick and mortar stores have a program where you send in your product with attention merchandising and you work out the details to see if it's something that they'd be interested in. But given the initial traction of my online sales and the uniqueness of this product, as well as the fact that it's never been done before, makes me think that there's a very good chance that they could be interested.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How are you driving your consumer traffic to Amazon right now?
So that 10 to 12 figure is almost all organic traffic. Just by, I do Amazon pay-per-click, but it's not a ton of revenue from that. But I've pretty much captivated the format HeelPad traffic. So now I need to think of ways to reach a larger audience, such as Facebook ads and Google. I do get also search engine. My website is search engine optimized, so I do drive traffic to matmateusa.com, which then goes to Amazon.
Any more questions from our judges? All right, let's hear it from Matt. Okay, can we hear a big round of applause for all of our Main Street So, we've got a little bit of a surprise here, right? So we need a little bit of help choosing our Audience Choice Award, right? So this is a $1,000 award given to the Audience Choice. So this is up for grabs for both tracks. Right now, we're going to be able to submit our votes for the Main Street Track Audience Choice Award. So, what I need you to do is go to menti.com. That's menti.com. Pull out your smartphones now, right? So we're going to need support from everybody to make this work. So go ahead and go to menti.com, and you're going to enter the voting code 7665-7552. Again, that's 7665-7552. Now this voting is only open for a limited amount of time, so definitely get those votes in right now. Okay, let's get those votes in. Let's get those votes in. Menti.com. And let's keep it rolling. So, on to our next track, the David and Robin Quattrone Venture track. So, we did our non-tech-based companies. Now we're going to go to our tech-based or tech-enabled companies. Now, the students are competing for a grand prize of $30,000, a second place prize of $10,000, and our third place prize is $1,000. And again, we have our Audience Choice Award for $1,000 as well. We'll be following a similar format, so similar judging criteria to the Main Street track, and our panel of judges will also help us choose this winner. Our three finalists for the Quattrone Venture track are Quandary, founded by Brian Holton and Ryan Downing. We have Vitalize, founded by Sanketh Anthararapu. We have Chat Health, founded by Aishwarya Taray. Let's give them all a round of applause. And now, one more favor. As people get up here,
I'm Ryan. And I'm Brian.
Everybody keep clapping. All right, here we go.
Here at Quandary, we're building a cutting-edge platform to bring automated investing to everyone. With our platform, our users can easily build a strategy that reflects their investment philosophy, then test that strategy over 15 years and deploy it to any one of their brokerages.
We've partnered with industry-level data providers to help ensure cheap and easy access to market-level data. We've also built a platform that we believe beats our competition by pricing, accessibility, and usability of tenfold.
With our team, we hope to provide a way for anyone with an internet connection to dive right into the field of quantitative finance.
Let's hear it for Quandary.
Hi, my name is Sanket, and I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Vitalize. Over the last several years, I've spent hundreds of hours in clinical environments as either a medical assistant or a volunteer. And in each of these, I've noticed how the clinicians around me were overworked or stressed out. Healthcare worker burnout is one of the leading contributors of medical errors and patient biases. And burnout is also one of the driving reasons for why 1 in 5 physicians and 1 in 3 nurses will be leaving their profession in the next 2 years. At Vitalize, we exist to improve the well-being of our healthcare workforce so that millions of patients receive the care that they deserve. And we're doing this by building a digital wellness platform that's tailored to the unique challenges of working in healthcare. Our vision is for Vitalize to be a platform that's adopted by healthcare organizations globally to ensure that personalized, evidence-driven well-being resources are placed in the hands of millions of clinicians.
Vitalize, welcome to the competition.
Hi, my name is Aishwarya Taray. I'm the co-founder of Chat Health, a platform that allows students to be the healthiest versions of themselves and university health staff to better support them. Through a mobile app platform, we aggregate all the health resources, services, and educational materials a student may use and encourage preventative, holistic healthcare behaviors. For university health centers, they put out all these amazing resources, and students either don't know that they exist or don't want to read large case study PDFs on the website. Chat Health empowers these university health clinicians with the data that they need to make more informed decisions and allocate resources more efficiently. In this way, Chat Health transforms students into the next generation of healthy, informed young adults.
Chat Health, welcome to the finalists. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with Quandary. Welcome to the stage. Keep clapping, keep clapping. Let's keep it going, keep clapping. Woo!
Hello everyone, my name is Brian Holton. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Quandary.
Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, the CTO and co-founder at Quandary.
At Quandary, our mission statement is to empower the retail trader with automated investing solutions. So what does that mean? We've actually brought someone with us today. Peter over here, so Peter can stand up. Peter has a problem. Peter wants to automate his investments and he has no good way of doing so. He wants to adopt an investment strategy that looks like this. He wants to only invest in DC area companies that have a consistent pattern of growth. He's very superstitious and only wants to invest in these companies on Tuesdays. And he also wants to adjust his position size based on a risk index like the VIX. So if Peter wants to do this right now, he has two options. He can take about an hour or two out of his day every day to manage his portfolio, or he can hire a money manager if he can afford the premiums and minimum buy-ins. So because of that problem, we built Quandary.
Yeah. So alternatively, Peter can come straight to the Quandary platform and build that strategy exactly like Brian described in our online strategy builder. Peter can then backtest that strategy on our cloud servers and view detailed performance reports of how it would have done in the past. If he's happy with that performance, he can immediately deploy that strategy for live trading through our brokerage connections. Additionally, if Peter wants to list that strategy in our marketplace, other users can come and view his strategy, and if they want to invest in it or earn a commission, we'll also take a small commission, and everyone will enjoy the benefits of automated trading. So right now, when Peter comes to our platform, he'll be presented with this online editor where he'll have some instructions to get started as well as some boilerplate code to start building his strategy. Once he has built that strategy and is ready to start live trading it, he'll move over to our live trading dashboard where he'll be able to actively monitor the trades it's placing, the performance it's achieving in live markets. So our current solution has a few key advantages over our industry competitors. That first and biggest advantage is the learning curve to get started. While our competitors require that their users know how to code in order to use their platforms, we are delivering no-code solutions and are focused on getting our users iterating on their investment ideas as quickly as possible. We've actually conducted user tests to measure this specifically, going from the landing page to users testing their first idea, and have found that on our platform, users are able to do this in well under half the time of our industry competitors. Additionally, thanks to us building off of serverless infrastructure, we have very low variable cost and are able to pass that along to the end user in the form of extremely competitive pricing. Just to note a little bit more on that learning curve to get started, we've been monitoring online communities where people are looking for solutions like ours and have expressed frustrations with the current existing solutions, saying for finance people, they're way too difficult and confusing to use. Even for programmers, they find them confusing. And we've had a random community member in our community reach out to us and say we're actively solving the problems they've had with other platforms, and they're excited to use ours.
So yeah, just a bit about kind of where we came from and where we're going. Back in October of last year, we got into the Mock Tazada Hatchery, which, if you don't know, it's a new incubator out of IREEB Center. And that was when we really started working on the product. Since then, we've passed our January goal of having the MVP built out. The MVP includes that online editor we were talking about, as well as daily data and backtesting over that daily data. We're prepping for a May 31st commercial release that includes higher fidelity minute bar data, as well as integrations with different brokerages to offer live trading. From there, we're jumping straight into no-code solutions. So when we say no-code, think of a drag-and-drop node-based flowchart editor where you can define exactly what you want your strategy to do without having to actually program it into the UI. That's scheduled in for the end of the year. The beginning of next year, we're jumping straight into the marketplace, which is probably our biggest feature, where anyone can list their strategy and anyone else can invest in that strategy, and the person listing it will make a commission, and everyone can enjoy, like Ryan said, the automated trading. Our market side thing, we can bring Peter back here, and it goes kind of in line with the last slide. Peter knows how to code. He's a software engineer by trade, so he will be able to use the platform upon release. However, Peter's friend, who doesn't know how to code, will be able to use the platform once we have the no-code solution built out. We estimate around 100 million people that could use the platform and that would be interested in automating their investments once the no-code solutions are built. Once they have the marketplace built out, this number immediately jumps up to around a billion people, because at this point, we are another way for anyone to do like portfolio or risk management, and we're essentially another financial instrument that you can invest in without having to even code or use the platform at all. So our market projections go in line with that. We estimate around a 500% year-over-year growth. If we couple this with the market sizing on the last slide, as well as a 1% penetration rate, which we believe is very manageable, this nets us about a $10 million ARR by 2024.
Yeah, so digging into that pricing a little bit closer, our main revenue line will be through our subscription model, with that main product at this time being live trading for $10 a month, or an average of $120 per user per year. Thanks to our extremely high operating margins of above 85%, we're able to retain the majority of that revenue as profit And just to further highlight the efficiency of our company, we currently only have $3,000 of monthly cash outflow, in large part thanks to us fulfilling the most expensive roles on the team as engineers. Once we have about 300 to 500 active paying users, we'll actually break even and start turning a profit on the platform as a whole. So what do we actually want to use the Dingman prize money for? Well, first we want to take a large chunk of that capital and put it directly towards our marketing campaign in the form of sponsored creators, paid online advertisements, and more as we continue to gear up for this launch at the end of May. The next thing is supporting our ongoing operations as we continue to build out our site and platform, and then some legal expenses as we draft our terms of service and privacy policy. However, for that remaining piece of capital, we actually see this as a way to accelerate our timeline on a number of other things, such as acquiring additional data sources and building more features for the platform.
Thank you. We appreciate your time and happy to answer any questions.
I'll start. I guess that's a long way from granola bars and dolls to where you guys are. So can you get back to the revenue projection real quickly on the Air PUs? And can you tell me exactly how you came up with the 120? You said it was a $10 trading fee. So can you give a little bit more context to that?
Yeah, sure. So for live trading, which is kind of that main feature, once you've built your investment strategy, you've back-tested it, the main core feature is that live trading component where we're now taking that strategy and we're automating those trades through your brokerage for you. So that comes at a price of $10 per month.
What brokers are you integrated with right now that you could actually do live trading with?
Yeah, so that's a great question. The question is about brokerage integration. We've actually been working directly with Alpaca Brokerages. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're one of the up-and-coming API-based brokerages. And we've integrated them we're going to integrate with them at a level where we can actually open accounts for our users. So when a user comes in and makes a Quandary account, they'll get their own dedicated Alpaca brokerage account that we will just basically do all the interfacing with. So they don't have to actually go and link their other brokerages to our platform. They just get one out of the bat. They can also opt out of this if you already have like an E-Trade. You can link that as well. But Alpaca is kind of our main push for right now.
Can you talk a little bit more about your marketing strategy, how you're going to attract customers to your...
Yeah. So our marketing strategy, we've been building a community and kind of a group of people that are interested in it with our newsletter, as well as we have a Discord community that's active right now. For our marketing strategy, we are initially, when we're targeting the programming people, we're going to programming communities online. We've identified a big community on Reddit of about 1.4 million people that are actively looking for a solution to this problem. However, once we have the kind of no-code solutions and everything else built out, we're going to go more toward university clubs, more general finance areas of online communities, et cetera.
Great, thank you.
So to actually piggyback off of David's question, so you right now have an internal brokerage through Alpaca, but if I'm on E-Trade, for example, or Robinhood, would I be able to use your software?
That's correct. So when you upgrade to the tier that supports live trading, you'll get a question. It's like, do you want to open a brokerage with us? And if you say no, you can connect to your external brokerages. So that's going to be like Schwab, Fidelity, E-Trade, all of those. Or if you even already have an Alpaca account, you don't have to go through us. We just want to offer that to the user so the experience is seamless.
Okay. And then could you quickly talk about your competitors as well, like Quantopian or maybe some of the others?
Yeah, thanks for the question. That's a great question. So just to dig a little bit deeper into our competitors, Quantopian has actually since shut down in recent years. So really our main competitor, there are a few other smaller startups that are in this area, but the main competitor at this time is QuantConnect, who they don't have the no-coding solution available. They really target technical users, almost like hobbyist quants who already kind of know how to do this kind of trading. And in terms of pricing, we also are able to undercut them significantly due to us building off of serverless cloud again, where instead they actually provide 24/7 servers to their users directly, and they kind of offset those costs by passing it down to their users.
Yeah, I'll also jump on that. The marketplaces of our competitors are mainly focused on quant to business, so they will essentially try and get you to sell your strategy to existing banks or hedge funds, and they're focused on partnering that up, and you can't even do any kind of peer-to-peer. So our marketplace is going to be very much of like, you can invest in your friend's strategy, because we think there's much more market there than if we try to market to banks or hedge funds.
And we have time for one last question.
Could you talk about your use of support, especially across time zones? How do you do that? Can you describe how that works?
Can you clarify the question a bit? You mean
User
like,
support.
as
If
in like
someone
who
is
can
having
use it?
technical issues,
Oh, okay.
how do you support them, particularly people that are using it across time zones in other countries, for example? How would that work?
So we have our online communities that we built. There's members who are using the platform, but also our staff is in there. So at any time they can message in those channels and we'll communicate back to them as quickly as possible.
All right, let's hear it for Quandary. Next up to the stage, we have Vitalize. Let's hear it, let's hear it, let's hear it. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going.
Hi everyone, my name is Sanket and I'm the co-founder of Vitalize. From as early as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a patient caregiver. I've always looked up to clinicians and their ability to take care of patients at their most vulnerable times. And so over the last few years, I've spent hundreds of hours working right by their sides. But it wasn't long until I realized that the clinicians around me were constantly burned out. They were emotionally exhausted, disconnected from their patients, and most disheartening to me, they were losing their sense of purpose in medicine. In fact, today over 60% of our healthcare workforce is burned out, and nearly a half wish to quit their profession for this reason right now. This is costing our healthcare system over $60 billion annually and sacrificing our ability to deliver high-quality patient care. Reducing burnout is a top priority for every hospital in this country. So I started talking to every single clinician I could get in touch with. At the height of the pandemic, I volunteered at the hospital just so I could talk to the clinicians around me about their experiences. And what we learned was that current solutions struggle with engagement and retention. Hospital employee assistance programs and wellness workshops are simply too time-intensive and they're highly stigmatized. Existing wellness apps, although they're more accessible, don't cater to the unique challenges of working in healthcare. So overall, current solutions yield low ROI for healthcare orgs. This is why we built Vitalize, a digital wellness platform that is tailored to the healthcare workforce. For healthcare workers, we offer a cognitive behavioral therapy mobile app, and for leadership, we offer a web-based analytics dashboard. Our app delivers mindfulness modules that are focused on key things that clinicians see every day, such as coping with the grief of losing a patient. The key is that each module can be completed in 1 to 10 minutes. Our app also offers peer support and group coaching features that are led by wellness coaches who are physicians themselves. And for leadership, our web-based analytics dashboard provides robust data on staff well-being trends and app engagement to help them ultimately uncover drivers of burnout at their institution. Our revenue model is B2B, where we sell our platform to healthcare organizations priced at a per clinician per year annual subscription basis. Applying our market research and analysis around willingness to pay, we estimate our serviceable attainable market to be $1.3 billion. With healthcare orgs increasingly gravitating towards more tailored and empathetic solutions for their staff, we look to capture $100 million over the next 8 to 10 years. And we're confident that this is the right time to enter the market. Our strongest direct competitors are startups founded just within the last few years. Companies in the space such as Even Health and Fifth Window have created tech-enabled solutions for the healthcare sector, but they fail to provide analytics to organizations, nor do they integrate with existing hospital wellness infrastructure. We're a year and a half into our journey, and we've raised $75,000 in non-dilutive funding, launched a 100-clinician public beta, and we're executing on 2 pilots where we'll be engaging with over 250 physicians and nurses. Most excitingly, we're expecting to close a $120,000 contract by the end of May with the largest social care provider in Europe. With Vitalize, our goal is to maximize adoption and retention, so we worked with clinicians every step of the way. We first took part in 2 prestigious customer discovery programs, and we then worked with a panel of 50 clinicians to co-design Vitalize. We actually recently published research to back our product development process. Most recently, from our public beta and solution interviews, we found that over 70% of our users wanted to use Vitalize at least 5 times a week. This brings us to our current pilots, which are a time of rigorous evaluation, and we'll be collecting data on both our product and key outcomes to show the efficacy of Vitalize. Our focus this summer is paid pilots. To grow our current sales pipeline, we're going to tap into our connections with national healthcare organizations, our clinician wellness nonprofit partnerships, and the global network of our chief medical officer and advisory board. Just last month, Congress passed a bill that established $140 million in grants for hospitals across the country to adopt new solutions to support their staff's well-being. Solutions like Vitalize. And so, judges, this is why we want to act fast. We're already in talks with healthcare organizations for paid pilots, and we plan to use the $30,000 grand prize for key product improvements that enable us to go to market. We expect to secure 4 paid contracts by the end of 2022, bringing us our first $160,000 in contracted annual revenue. And we're excited to scale this to 75 contracts by 2025. We're the right team to create an impact in this space. Each of us combine over 10 years of clinical experience, globally recognized scholarship in clinician wellness, work at 2 top healthcare venture funds, and engineering talent from one of the country's most promising healthcare startups. At Vitalize, as a team, we exist to restore purpose and joy and improve the well-being of healthcare workers globally so that millions of patients can receive the best care possible. Thank you.
Question for you. What are some of your outcome measures, right? That's an interesting area, it's an interesting market.
Yeah.
And I would be interested in knowing, how do you measure success? What are the outcomes, the metrics?
Great question. So for our pilot with Midland Health, we actually received IRB approval to conduct this as a research study. And so this allows us to collect data on pre-intervention and post-intervention results on various well-being metrics. And then the other key outcome that we want to measure is engagement, right? The whole problem with traditional solutions is that, especially with existing wellness apps, they have over 95% churn in this population. With the 150 people we talked to, over 60% have tried an app such as this just to quit and delete them in less than 2 weeks. And so another key metric that we want to measure is at least 50% are engaging with this app at least once a week.
Thank you.
Yep.
In your revenue, I was going to say, in your revenue projections, I think they went over 4 or 5 years. How are you thinking about getting the contracts that you need to secure and kind of going to market to hit those numbers?
Yeah, so our recent onboarding of our chief medical officer, a little bit about her background. She's a trained physician, and she quit the profession because she burned out. She pivoted her career to selling well-being programs to healthcare organizations, and she sold to over 25 healthcare organizations. And so that's a sales pipeline that we're going to tap into, along with all the talks that we're in right now. These are leads that we've gotten just from networking, from attending wellness conferences that are focused on this problem specifically. And our advisory board has so many connections across the country with thought leaders, HR people, chief wellness officers across hospitals. And so that's how we plan to grow. And then as we get further and further along and we exhaust those connections, we're going to hire salespeople and continue attending these conferences to garner more leads.
So you talked about engagement with the tool being critical to success. Can you talk about your future strategy to keeping that content fresh and how you're going to get new content to put into the platform itself?
Yeah, I mean, we're already developing content each week and each month from the insights that we're getting from talking to our target population. We develop all our content in-house. We have our director of mindfulness, Anthony, who has experience developing content for vulnerable populations, and our chief medical officer, who brings all the content that she's built over the last few years and validated with her research. In the future, if we need to keep up to scale, so as we get more and more, as we open up to more and more types of healthcare workers, we look to maybe expand that team, but at least for the next 2 years, we're confident that our team right now can keep up with the pace of content.
For the deal that you mentioned you have in a pipe right now for $120K in Europe, Could you talk about the deal? Like, how did you find the customer? What's the stakeholder's title? And then why are they interested in buying your software?
Yeah, great question. So we pitched to a VC fund in November, and the way their fund works was they have distribution partners. And one of their distribution partners is CareTech, which is that 120,000 client. And they listened to our pitch. We were ghosted by them for 2 months. Then they got a new director of HR that really prioritized this problem. They came back to us 3 months later and said, we're really interested in your solution. We're right now on meeting 8 with them, and we have their head of director of investments and M&A as our champion within their organization. So they've helped us perfect our pitch. Recently got the HR very interested, and we're now waiting on a next meeting to pitch to the rest of their executives. What it's going to look like is that 120,000 would cover year 1 to implement and scale across all 11,000 of their social workers, and then subsequent pricing would be base implementation fee along with pricing based on engagement. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
I'm looking at the financials that you produced in your handout here, which is up there. You have a very high admin expense that increases with your revenue line, and you're still showing negative EBITDA at the end of the 4 years.
Yeah.
What makes up the admin expense, and at what point in time, what revenue point are you expected to break even and then get to positive net growth?
Yeah, we look to break even at the end of 2025. The reason is one of the most valuable features in this product is the clinician-led group coaching. And so the admin expenses, that includes the coaches that we would hire for this platform. The average sale for that would be 80 to 100,000, which is significantly higher than for the sales that we don't include group coaching. We assume that 2/3 of our sales would be including the group coaching. And that at scale gets cheaper because we're able to deliver more sessions to more people, and that distributes the time that clinicians are spending among more sessions. And so that's why it's expensive, but we realize that that's a key value prop, and it allows us to tap into and attract more customers overall that want a comprehensive solution for their staff.
All right, let's hear it for Vitalize. And for our final competitor, let's get Chat Health. Welcome Chat Health to the stage.
I remember my freshman year vividly. The dorms on North Campus were infested in mold. They were on my friends' clothes, in their shoes, and my friends would be falling asleep in class because they'd been up all night coughing. And then the University Health Center started getting a bunch of students with viral infections. They had no idea what it was or how many students on campus had it. And then it was too late because they delayed taking action, and one of my fellow classmates actually passed away because the university didn't know how widespread it was. But that's the biggest tragedy, is that this was entirely preventable. We all remember the headlines. How could the university have kept this from us for 3 weeks? And the university should have handled this better. But the fact is that university health clinicians barely had any information. They didn't know how this was spreading and couldn't track it in real time. And then a year later, we were hit with yet another public health crisis, COVID-19. And my sophomore year was cut short. There was so much uncertainty because the university yet again didn't handle this well. So we built a Q&A student-facing chatbot in order to immediately answer some of our fellow students' questions. And to our surprise, we got over 4,000 queries, which could have potentially gone unanswered. And we realized that on the student side, there was a demand for something like this as well. It's not that university health centers don't care. In fact, they're pouring $6 billion every year into student health resources. But without that direct line of communication to students, they will never be able to get those results that they're hoping for. Which is why we built Chat Health, an analytics platform for university health centers to make more proactive, data-driven decisions on how to allocate their time and resources to best supporting students. A student can ask our AI chatbot answers and get quick responses, while a clinician can track a surge in topics, i.e. symptoms, and be able to know where to allocate those resources. A student can also go onto the resources dashboard, find the resource that they're quickly looking for, make an appointment directly on our platform, know exactly how much they're going to pay, and once they've received that service, provide direct feedback to the University Health Center. And for University Health Centers, we're providing a data analytics dashboard that allows them to see in real time where resources need to be allocated based on how students are interacting with healthcare resources on their campus. We validated the need for this dashboard with over 20 health centers nationwide because anecdotal survey data isn't enough for them. And we have a significant competitive advantage over other solutions in this space, because with our closest being Grid Digital Health. But unlike our competitors, we aren't expensively overriding the content created by the experts. We're focused on enhancing that pipeline. And so over time, in the long run, we provide a greater utility to universities because we're helping them iterate on their resources. We also have lived experience navigating campus health resources and want to ensure that students who come after us never have to face those same problems again. And lastly, we are from a generation of digital natives and realize that we need a mobile app. Web portals are no longer cutting it. We're testing this with students first in order to understand and illustrate that information gap. With our early adopters, we're testing our backend integration and overall student reach. And in this framework, we're hoping to secure 4 contracts by the end of next year. We sell to universities for a base fee of $120 to $180K, depending on university size. But we realized that student health is so much larger than just health centers. So we've expanded our customer base to include third-party health providers, as well as insurance payers, who also find great value in this data. And now we are halfway through our 250 student pilot at the University of Maryland. And here's what we've learned so far. 1, students are incredibly anxious about health insurance because they don't feel that they understand it. They also access mental and sexual health data the most, but don't feel that their needs are being met. And lastly, 100% of students felt that they learned something new about their health from using our app for 2 weeks. So we will surpass $1 million in total revenue in just the next 2 years by scaling quickly within university health systems that function similarly. We can cut costs as well. $30,000 would be instrumental in allowing Chat Health to reach our contract goals, as well as our first 10,000 users, including legal fees for ensuring our HIPAA compliance every step of the way, scaling our technical infrastructure, signing our initial BA contracts, and covering the customer acquisition costs of our next 5 pilots at different institutions. And we're really excited to see how our app molds to those different university systems as well. And we're confident that we've built the team that we know can succeed in revolutionizing college health. At Chat Health, we exist to make sure that students are carrying these preventative wellness mentalities into adulthood, and for universities to ensure that this never happens again because they're equipped with the right data. Thank you for your support in our mission, and for all you students out there, you can join our pilot right now. Thank you so much for your support.
Slide that showed the pipe for how much is spent, kind of the budget, and how nothing is kind of gotten from there. Do you find that there is budget for something like this, or maybe an alternative competitor that's being used that they can then allocate towards Chat?
Yeah, so I think what you might find interesting is that since all of you were students at Maryland, the health operations hasn't changed at all, even with the rise of new technologies. But in terms of competitors, they're not using any current systems that are giving them this kind of data. They're only having their university health portal where you can make appointments, basically. So they're not really getting any feedback right now. In terms of the $6 billion, we know that the University of Maryland spends about 3% of their budget on student services, so that would be about $74 million.
Gotcha, thank you.
So when you talk about they don't have this data, I mean, part of that is because the existing systems probably aren't very modern or don't have access to that content. Can you talk about the challenges of getting that content that's university specific into an app like this and what that process might be like for an organization or a university?
Yeah, so we also thought that it would be really expensive to do a lot of user research at every university that we would be scaling to. But we found that universities face a couple of base problems that, which is why our student team is made up of so many diverse universities, because we validated that like everywhere we go, students don't understand health insurance. They're using student sexual and mental health resources the most, right? Things like that is highly scalable to every university. Did you want to? Okay. Did that answer your question?
There's a lot of commonality between
exactly.
universities.
Especially university systems that function similarly. So like the university system in Maryland, even geographically, you'll find that students are gravitating towards certain types of resources.
You said the annual subscription is 120,000, 180,000, depending on the size of the university. Can you expand a little bit on how you came up with those numbers?
Yeah. So that is based a little bit on how other solutions that have come before us have priced their product. And that would be, for example, WellTrack, which was just a student-facing app to track your mental health from day to day. It was something that the university had adopted for a year, decided it didn't work for them, but this was about that we've done market research on how others have priced their products, but also on how data organizations do subscriptions, and then also based on how many University Health Center employees there are currently. That's about, so if we were to do 120K, that would be about $10,000 per month for a 40,000 student population and about 120 University Health Center staff. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how you would market to these other universities and explain to them how this is going to work out?
Yeah, so I would say that's where a little bit of our customer acquisition costs come from, because we know that at the University of Maryland, it was an easy solution because we knew that there had been these scandals prior, and that there was such a need for this product. But we know that for COVID-19, for example, most universities nationwide were hotbeds of COVID-19 cases. And so every university is struggling to some extent with being able to monitor how student health works and how it, how it is out in the wild. Does that answer your question? Can I elaborate a little?
Well, I was more interested in how you would approach the sales process to go to another university with your application.
Sure. So our early adopters were pricing at 25 to 30K, which would be under their university procurement threshold. Okay. This is just as a, we will pilot, right, with universities, with our early adopters to show that case study of how are students interacting, how are university health centers using this information. I think we'll know more once we do our first 4 contracts.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chat Health. All right, let's hear it for all of our finalists. So that brings us to a very, very difficult decision that our judges will need to make. I'm glad I'm not doing that because it's going to be super tough. But first, we must have a vote for our Quattrone Venture Track Audience Award. So same process. We're going to pull out our smartphones and go to menti.com, MENTI.com. You're going to type in the code 76657552. That's 76657552. And vote for who you want to be the audience choice. Can we get a round of applause for our judges? as they head off to go deliberate. So judges, if you could please stand up, and you are going to go into another room to deliberate as we welcome the Dingman Center's Managing Director, Holly DeArmond, to the stage to tell us about some specialty awards for tonight.
Congrats, teams, and thank you, judges. Good luck in there. Sorry about that. So thank you so much for being here. Like Chris said, after 2 years of virtual competitions, it is so exciting to be back here at the Stamp for Pitch Demon competition. So while they make the hard decisions, I get to stay out here with you and give out some awards.
So yeah, I get to stay out here and give out some awards. But this first award I'm going to give is it's bittersweet for us and our team. One of the best parts of working at the Dingman Center is meeting students who have the potential to start something new and change the world. We meet hundreds of students every year, but it's those in programs like this, the Pitch Demon competition, that we really get to know and spend a lot of time with. Tom Sobransky was one of these students. He founded the company Inley as an undergraduate student. He participated in the Pitch Demon competition semifinals. He was in our Chirp Startup Summer Accelerator and was in the inaugural cohort of our prestigious fellowship program. Tom was also a peer innovation coach at U of D's Academy of Innovation and an intern at the Maryland International Incubator on our campus. So as you can tell, Tom is an excited member of our entrepreneurial ecosystem. But sadly, Tom died in a car crash in January 2021. And in the months after the tragedy, Tom's family reached out to us to see if there was something meaningful yet exciting that they could do to honor their son's memory. They wanted something fun
and high energy, just like Tom was. And they wanted to provide seed funding to a student team, just like Tom had received seed funding for his company, Inley. So we convened a group of staff and students who knew Tom well, and we developed the Thomas Sobransky Entrepreneurial Spirit Award. After all, if you knew Tom, he had a lot of spirit. Before we present the award tonight, I would like to acknowledge and thank the steering committee. Lottie Byram, Dean Chang, Claudia Donnelly, Sarah Harold, Jonathan Schneider, and Sahej Singh. So to tell you a little more about Tom and to present the award to one of our teams from here tonight, here we are, thank you, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad Sahej and Johnny are gonna have a mic when they come up here. I would like to invite Jonathan Schneider, who was Tom's co-founder in Inley and his friend, and also Sahej, who was his dear friend. So come on up. I think you'll both have to pass this around.
Who here would be willing to move to China to become fluent in Chinese, start training Muay Thai 6 days a week to compete in the UFC, and then to use the UFC as a marketing platform to launch a US presidential campaign, just to increase the chance that your startup will become a billion-dollar success? The answer is Tom Sobransky. Some of you here tonight may have known Tom. Others may have not. On January 11th, 2021, we tragically lost Tom in a car accident while he was on a ski trip in Vermont. My name is Johnny Schneider. and Tom was a close friend of mine, as well as my business partner at Enly, a Dingman Center Fellow and Pitch Dingman semifinalist in 2020, whose mission was to eliminate fashion e-commerce returns by providing online size and fit recommendations through our virtual fitting technology. What stuck out to me most while working together with Tom was that Tom was relentless. Tom was fearless. Tom was a risk taker. Tom was an inspirational leader whose visions were larger than himself. And while Tom is not here today with us physically, his visions continue to live on in many of us, and his spirit continues to live on through all of the entrepreneurs who are willing to sacrifice everything to make their companies survive and eventually to thrive. Now, I would like to take a moment to recite Tom's favorite poem, Nothing Gold Can Stay, by Robert Frost, which on the surface may seem melancholy, but which Tom viewed as capturing nature's transient beauty and natural way of life. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf. So Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day. Nothing gold can stay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to be here in front of everyone to hear such amazing founders bring their ideas forth. It takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of resilience, and there's a lot of turmoil that you have to go through as a founder to be successful. And so it's inspiring for Johnny and I who have done things like this, but to see folks after us at the business school, at UMD, take those same risks, take those same challenges, and it really is, it's very heartfelt. My name is Sahej Singh, and I had the pleasure of knowing Tom for 12 years. We started playing trumpet together in middle school, and towards the end, we were going to New York Fashion Week. It was quite the ride, to say the least. He was a fiercely loyal friend and a visionary, as Johnny mentioned, but he had a very uniquely distinct charisma. Tom's whole life was an ode to being a true entrepreneur, to really go above and beyond, to take any action that you need to succeed, and really sharing his grandiose ideas with everyone, but making them his own reality. He had this remarkable ability to tell stories, but it would be his vision that he would articulate, and he would bring you right in close, and you would sit there and be like, Tom, I know that you're going to get this done because I feel like I'm standing there right with you on that stage, winning that seed funding, right? Getting that Series B, getting that Series C. And so the way he articulated himself, hearing folks tonight pitch in front of these judges really reminded us of Tom's amazing spirit. The Savransky family has generously gifted $10,000 in Tom's honor in an award, and it is our privilege, alongside Holly, Sarah, Claudia, Lottie, and Dean, to award this on their behalf. This award aims to recognize one startup whose founders and product exemplify Tom's spirit. In addition, Johnny and I want to extend to this startup a personal invitation to come out on a hike with us, something that you probably weren't expecting me to get up here and say, but Tom was very avid about going into nature and hiking. He used this as a time to connect with friends, think about business ideas, and we want to extend that courtesy to the startup that's going to win, to come out, learn a little bit more about who Tom was as an entrepreneur, as a friend, and as a human being. So without further ado, in Tom's honor, the first ever Thomas Savransky Entrepreneurial Spirit Award goes to Quandary, whose vision to automate investing strategies is intelligent, bold, and fearless. Right here.
Thank you.
Stand right here. Do you photo? You guys hear this?
Yeah, those two in the middle, yeah. Good, yeah. Okay. Thank you. That was great. That was really touching. Thank you, Johnny and Sahej. It's so special to honor Tom this way. It really is. And congrats, Quandary. You are going to have to go on that hike. Tom was very serious about his hiking, so this was wonderful. So now I get to give away more awards. So we have more. This year, we created something new with Pitch Dingman competition. Last month, during the university's annual Giving Day, our center raised more than $75,000 from our generous donors. This allowed us to enhance some of our current programs. So for Pitch Dingman, we decided to create some specialty prizes. Now, I know a lot of the people or a lot of the teams winning these awards are in the audience, so if you're here, when I call your award, stand up. So how this worked is this is not our finalists. The student teams winning these specialty awards are in the quarterfinals and semifinalists, so maybe they'll keep working on these ideas and they'll be up here on stage with us next year. So each specialty prize team will receive $1,000 to advance their idea. Okay, so let's start with Best Graduate Founder or Team. And our winner is Gelectric Medical, so congratulations. Yep, bravo. We also, since the Robert H. Smith School of Business is our home at the Dingman Center, we wanted to have the Best Marilyn Smith Student Founder or Team, and that award goes to Pet Passport. I think one of them is here. Yes, yep, there they are. That's a team of Smith MBAs working on a neat idea. Many of you know we have a pretty robust Ladies First initiative at our center, and so we created a Ladies First Founders Award, and this is going to Chris & Co. Cosmetics. Yeah. Yep, there she is. There's beautiful eyelashes if you're in the market for eyelashes. We have a lot of students in our pool, in our quarterfinalists and our semifinalists pool that are interested in social impact and sustainability. So those are our final two prizes. For social impact, Wise Cities is the winner, and I know she was here. And the special prize for sustainability goes to Repurpose Farm Plastic. Up there, yeah. Great, congratulations. And I just got word on Slack from the team that we have our Founders Showcase Audience Choice winner who was chosen by you. As you went through the showcase, you voted for your top pick. And the winner of that is Tap In. Are they still here? Bravo, Tap In. Great. So now I'm going to go check on the judges. We should be nearly there with the final prizes, and we'll come back. It shouldn't be too long.
Wow, we're ready. We're ready for the excitement. All right. Once again, thank you, judges, for a very difficult decision. So now that our judges have finished deliberating, it's time to announce the rest of our winners tonight. So first up, we have the Fearless Ideas track. This track is an idea-style challenge for students who do not yet have a developed venture, right? So here are the judges that helped determine this winner. So the grand prize winner of our Fearless Ideas track is Reglass. Congratulations, Reglass. So Reglass is going to win $5,000 and be auto-admitted into our TERP Startup Accelerator Summer Program. Congratulations, Reglass. So now for our Main Street track and Quattrone Venture track. So we need to practice one thing, right? So this is gonna be the sign for a drum roll. This is gonna be the sign to stop the drum roll, okay? So let's test it out. Drum roll. One more time. Okay, let's do it. I love y'all. Okay, great. Here we go. So, our Main Street track winners. Let's go ahead and bring up our finalists from the Main Street track. Come on up on stage. Yeah. Spread out on stage. Yeah. So first and foremost, we are going to announce the Audience Choice Award for $1,000, and that goes to Matt Mate. Okay, thank you. Matt made excellent job. So our third place prize of $1,000 is going to go to North Star Creations. And now, because there are only 3 finalists up here, I'm going to announce second place and first place at the same time. We're going to applaud our hearts out for both. So, our second place, followed by our grand prize winner for the Main Street track. Second place prize goes to